Hi everyone, I'm Alin and welcome back to Economic Concept. Many of you have asked me to carry on the discussion about Justin Trudeau leadership on Canada. But before I start, please don't forget to share, like and subscribe to this channel because your support is very important to me, and we have already gathered 6,000 people in such a short period of time. So thank you a lot for the support, and let me know in the comments if you have any other topics you'd like me to discuss about and what are the improvements I can bring to the channel. And now let's jump back into that. Today, we're diving deep into the economic and social impact of Justin Trudeau leadership on Canada. Over nearly a decade ago in power, Trudeau's government has implemented a range of policies that have left a significant mark on the nation's economic structure, immigration system, geopolitical stance, and regional development. In this video, we'll analyze how these policies have influenced key sectors such as housing, healthcare, education, and employment. From skyrocketing public debt and housing affordability crisis to shifts in foreign policy, Canada's international reputation, we'll break down the numbers, examine the real-world consequences, and explore whether Trudeau's leadership has delivered on its promises. With hard data, real statistics, and concrete examples, we aim to provide a clear picture of how Canada has changed under his leadership and why many argue that these changes haven't necessarily been for the better.
Canada's economy was once admired for its balance, strong industrial sectors, and a robust middle class. However, under Trudeau's leadership, many of these economic pillars have shown signs of strain. Let's analyze a few key sectors that have suffered. The energy sector was once a dominant force in Canada's economy. According to a 2015 report, the oil and gas industry contributed 10% of Canada's GDP. Under Trudeau, the sector has seen a significant decline, especially in the oil sands of Alberta. Statistics. Between 2014 and 2019, Canada's oil exports fell by approximately $5.5 billion annually due to regulatory challenges and a lack of pipeline approvals. In 2020, oil production dropped by 6.4% due to reduced demand and regulatory hurdles. Alberta, traditionally the heart of Canada's energy industry, has faced the brunt of these challenges, with unemployment rates hitting 13.4% in 2020, well above the national average. Manufacturing, a pillar of Canada's economic past, has seen job losses and reduced investment. The agriculture sector also suffers under Trudeau's policies, particularly with regards to trade deals and environmental regulations. Statistics. Manufacturing employment dropped by 3.2% from 2016 to 2021. Canada's agricultural exports were impacted when the CPTPP, Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, came into force, opening competition from lower-cost agricultural producers. Immigration is one of Trudeau's signature policies. However, this influx of migrants has had mixed consequences on Canada's economy, culture, and job market. Canada welcomed over 400,000 immigrants annually in recent years, with the target for 2025 reaching an all-time high of 500,000. While Canada's population grew, the distribution of migrants and the sectors they work in present a more complicated picture. Major immigrant origins. The largest source of migrants to Canada is India, 27%, followed by China, 12%, the Philippines, 10%, and Syria, 7%. These immigrants often settle in larger cities like Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal. While immigration can fill gaps in the labor market, there is a concern about the underqualification of many migrants for the jobs they occupy. Underqualified labor. A 2021 study by the Canadian Immigration Policy Centre found that 60% of recent immigrants work in jobs that require lower qualifications than their previous experience or education level. Interestingly, construction, hospitality, and service sectors saw a significant influx of migrants in the past decade, but Canada's education sector, particularly in universities and colleges, faces a shortage of local qualified workers, which some attribute to insufficient investment and research into STEM fields during Trudeau's tenure. Wages and employment trends. According to the 2021 census, the unemployment rate among immigrants is still 1.2% higher than that of Canadian-born citizens. Canada's regions have experienced very different economic outcomes under Trudeau's leadership. Trudeau's policies have often favored urban areas while neglecting the rural and northern parts of the country. Eastern Canada, in areas like Newfoundland and Labrador, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick, there has been a marked decline in traditional industries such as fishing, mining, and forestry. Statistics: Nova Scotia saw a 2% decrease in manufacturing jobs from 2015 to 2020. In Newfoundland, the unemployment rate reached 12.5% in 2020, a stark contrast to the national average of 9.4%. Western Canada: while Trudeau's government has often clashed with Alberta and Saskatchewan over oil and gas policies, these regions have been most vocal in their criticism. Statistics: between 2015 and 2020, Alberta lost over 100,000 oil-related jobs. Saskatchewan's grain exports dropped by 5% over the same period, partly due to increasing transportation costs. Big cities: the rise of urbanization under Trudeau. Cities like Toronto and Vancouver have seen rapid growth, especially with new immigrants. These urban hubs are now home to a significant percentage of Canada's population. However, this has also led to rising housing prices and greater inequality. Housing prices. In Vancouver, home prices surged by 25% from 2016 to 2020, with the average cost of a detached home reaching $1.7 million. In Toronto, prices increased by 17% over the same period, making home ownership increasingly unattainable for the average Canadian. Canada's foreign policy under Trudeau has had far-reaching impacts on the domestic front. The strained relationship with traditional allies, combined with a more progressive domestic agenda, has influenced economic and geopolitical stability. Canada-China relations. Trudeau's handling of relations with China has been widely criticized. Tensions over trade, human rights issues, and the Huawei scandal have hurt Canada's economic ties with China. Impact on trade. Trade between Canada and China dropped by 13% from 2017 to 2020. The canola trade dispute with China in 2019 led to a $1.5 billion loss for Canadian farmers. Canada's position in global politics. Trudeau's soft power approach in global affairs has also left Canada exposed to international pressures, particularly in regard to US-Canada relations, the Ukraine war, and NATO obligations. Despite efforts to present himself as a progressive leader, Trudeau's popularity has been on a steady decline. Citizens across the country have expressed frustration with rising costs of living, an unmanageable housing market, and an economy that seems to be increasingly out of reach. Polling data. A 2023 Ipsos poll showed that 58% of Canadians felt Trudeau was not doing enough to address rising housing costs. The brain drain. Canadians leaving the country. The phenomenon of Canadians leaving the country, often referred to as the brain drain, has escalated under Trudeau's leadership. According to data from Statistics Canada, more than 150,000 Canadians have left the country in the last decade, seeking better opportunities abroad. The reasons for leaving usually are the following: high taxation, rising cost of living, a lack of economic opportunities, particularly in rural and industrial sectors. Conclusion: the consequences of Trudeau's policies. Canada has certainly undergone significant transformation under Justin Trudeau's leadership, but the impact has not been entirely positive. From the decline of vital economic sectors to the pressures caused by mass immigration and regional disparities, the country's economic and social fabric has been strained. With rising discontent, it remains to be seen how Canada will navigate these challenges in the coming years. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights on economic and geopolitical topics. See you in the next video.